Fountain Hill, a historical gem of Ashley County, including personal reflection on growing up in Fountain Hill in the 70s and 80s. Fountain Hill, a small town with a current population of 108, holds a rich history that dates back to the early 1840s. Despite its modest size, the town's strategic location and diverse landscape have made it a significant part of Ashley County's heritage. Historical significance. Fountain Hill was strategically located at a crossroads in the early 1840s. It was situated on a branch of the road south from Pine Bluff to Monroe, Louisiana, known as the Louisiana Trace. This location made it a vital hub for travelers and traders. The town's two springs, one just west of the present site and the other known as Norris Spring, provided essential water sources for the community and its visitors. Geographical diversity. The area around Fountain Hill boasts a diverse landscape. The two creek bottoms, Flat Creek to the north and Fountain Creek to the south, were rich and alluvial, covered with cane brakes that provided excellent winter pasture. The ridge between the creeks was high and dry, with sandy silt suitable for profitable cultivation. To the southwest, the land was rolling and sandy, making it easy to cultivate. The flatwoods to the south and east offered fine timber and mast for hogs, while Fountain Prairie to the east provided fine pasture and wild hay. Prominent figures. James N. Norris was one of the early settlers who owned a farm near the springs. His residence and store were located atop the hill, with his gin and grist mills situated near the spring. Another notable figure was Elisha Kirkpatrick, an early merchant who retired at the age of 52. His wife, and owned 880 acres of land, and together they played a significant role in the community's development. The Denson family, who arrived in 1842, also became prominent citizens. By 1850, several members of the Denson family had settled in the area, contributing to the town's growth and prosperity. Community development. Fountain Hill had a post office established in 1846, with several postmasters serving over the years. The town also had a variety of businesses, churches, schools, and other amenities, making it a vibrant community. Notable businesses included general stores, gins, and a cotton compress. The town's Methodist and Baptist churches were central to the community's social and spiritual life. Modern-day Fountain Hill. Today, Fountain Hill remains a small but vibrant community. Although its population is officially 108, it is not uncommon to find around 200 people in the town during the day, likely passing through or visiting the local quick food stop. The town's rich history and unique geographical features continue to make it an interesting place for residents and visitors alike. Personal reflections. As the current author, I grew up in Fountain Hill. Fountain Creek, mentioned in the historical accounts, was essentially in my backyard, just a couple of 100 yards behind my house. To be honest with you, I didn't even know the creek had a name. We lived up on a ridge, at the edge of the Fountain Creek alluvial plain, on a farm. We had a tomato and watermelon farm, but we also raised cattle and pigs. We raised the cattle to sell, as my grandpa was a cattleman, but we ate the pigs. I remember the hog killings, where all the boys and kids would get together to process the hogs. We'd put them in a big barrel of hot water and then scrape them. Deer hunts were also common, where we'd hang and process the deer. I graduated from Fountain Hill in 1990, and back then, the town had a population of around 295 people. Many people worked in the timber industry, with small businesses like pulpwood and log truck businesses being common. If you didn't work in the mill, you often worked in construction or other trades. Working in the mill meant living by the whistle, a way of life that many people in Fountain Hill learned to adapt to. Growing up, I was fortunate enough to live in a brick home with a concrete floor, but I always enjoyed going to school because it was well-lit, smelled like food, and was full of people. That's exactly where I wanted to be. The school was a refuge for me, especially coming from a divorced family. It provided good food, socialization, and a sense of community. The school was the heart of the town, employing many people and serving as a central gathering place. It was sad to see it go, and as I've gotten older, I've realized how much it mattered. We all have memories of growing up there, and it's important to share them to preserve the town's history. Before I went to college and graduate school, I was an outdoorsman in Fountain Hill. I rode horses, walked, rode bicycles, and drove trucks all around the area. We covered every inch of the land within about 7 miles of Fountain Hill, exploring every side of town, the creek bottoms, and the river bottoms. Back then, there were no video games, so we spent our time outdoors. I remember getting my first Atari 2600 in the late 70s and played it for maybe 2 hours. But it couldn't compare to the beauty and adventure of the outdoors in Fountain Hill. Growing up in Fountain Hill in the 70s and 80s was a unique experience. The school was packed with students and new people were always coming in, often families who had moved away and then returned. It was a great place to grow up, and although I didn't spend much time there in the 90s and 2000s, I look back on my time in Fountain Hill with great appreciation. In my 50s, I realized how special it was, and I want to share that with others. Fountain Hill and Ashley County have rich histories and beautiful places that deserve to be known and appreciated. We lived 1.5 miles south and west of town as the crow flies. These experiences shaped who I am today, and I cherish the memories of my time in Fountain Hill. Acknowledgements. This essay draws upon the works of Y.W. Etheridge, particularly the history of Ashley County, and the compilation Reflections of Ashley County by Carpenter and Carpenter. Special thanks to Miss Nancy Toon, who donated the book to the chamber, and I was there that day to receive it. Their detailed accounts and historical research have been invaluable in preserving and sharing the rich heritage of Fountain Hill.